Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because as you can see, in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has actually managed to stage a bit of a reversal and form a green candlestick from its recent lows of around $6,840 up to where it's trading right now of around $7,080. This is a nice little reprieve that the Bitcoin bulls are finally getting from the Bitcoin bears because the last 9 days or so for Bitcoin, as we can see here on the chart, have been very, very brutal. They've been very brutal for the Bitcoin market, and the Bitcoin market does finally seem to have set a bottom. And like I said, the market has been very brutal unless you were shorting the market. Speaking of shorts, we're also going to be looking at the shorts chart, the Bitcoin over US dollar shorts chart. And as you can see, over the last 4 days or so, Bitcoin shorts have been rising. But we're actually going to be discussing why this is a bullish signal, why you should be happy that the shorts are rising, and why this is actually a bullish contrarian signal. We're going to be talking about that later on in the video. After we get into that, we're going to be covering news from Coinbase. As you guys may be aware, Ethereum Classic is being listed on Coinbase today on August the 7th. So we're going to be looking at the chart and talking about how you might want to be very, very careful trading that later on in the video. And to wrap the video up, we're also going to cover some news from the Wall Street Journal relating to pump and dump groups. This is an interesting conversation. This is an interesting topic that doesn't get talked about enough in the cryptocurrency space, so I want to go ahead and dive into it at the end of the video. But guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. We do cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them, as I always like to say. Anyway, guys, Bitcoin, like I said, is doing very, very well now. It's up around $7,085. It jumped about $5 since we started the video. Let's go ahead and start on CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin is trading up here around $7,100 on CoinMarketCap, depending on the exchange you're looking at, up about 1.6% over the last 24 hours. And this is a very nice thing to see for Bitcoin indeed, because like I said in the intro, Bitcoin has been very bearish for the last 9 days or so. And I talked about how this 7 red in a row incident that we have, excuse me, is actually a very bullish indicator for Bitcoin. It's actually a very bullish sign because if you see 7 red candlesticks in a row, the more consecutive candlesticks you see in a row that are the same color, the more likely it is that you're about to have a reversal. So when we see 7 red in a row, it means that we are more than likely about to see a reversal, and that 7 red in a row actually put us down here around support at around $6,800 to $6,900, which was just perfect territory for us to have a reversal, and I think that's what's going to happen. But Bitcoin is up about 1.5%, Ethereum's up about 0.7%, XRP is down. If we scroll down here, though, I will be able to tell you that Ethereum Classic is doing very well. It's up 10% in the last 24 hours, and it's actually up quite a bit more than that if you look at the last week. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Bitcoin's total daily volume is around $4 billion, and Ethereum's is around 1.7. That's pretty regular. That's pretty average numbers. There's nothing really to write home about there. Total market cap for Bitcoin hovering over $120 billion, and total market capitalization is hovering just over $250 billion. Guys, we've seen the market pull back to this level several times in the history of this bear market. If we zoom in here to the last year, then we're going to see the market has pulled back to this region several times, down here 250, 250, 250, and we're pulling back to it right now. The Bitcoin market is very, very healthy around this level, and the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets like to bounce around this level. So this is another one of those reasons that I think we are more than likely about to see a bounce. Is because we're hovering around this key, crucial, important level of support that Bitcoin and the crypto markets have continued to gain and garner support at, is this $250 billion market cap level. With that said, let's go ahead and get onto the chart. There's several things I want to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is actually a candlestick here on the daily chart, and that would be this red candlestick right here. Now, because of the way my chart's set up, it may be hard to see this, but this red candlestick right here, this one right here, is an interesting candlestick. And the reason this is an interesting candlestick is because this is actually an example of what is known as a spinning top candlestick. As we can see, we have the body here rather. It's this nice little red body, just about that big. But if we look at the wixes go up to right here, and the wixes go down to right there. What we see here is called a spinning top, and the reason it's a spinning top is because we see the long wixes and we see the short body. Basically, the idea is that it's spinning. And when you see a spinning top, what that normally indicates, we'll go over here to Investopedia and read their article on it. A spinning top is a candlestick pattern with a short real body, which is what we just saw. This has a rather short body. With a short real body that's vertically centered between long upper and lower shadows. Those shadow is another term for wicks on the candlestick. Oftentimes, the candlestick pattern is a sign of indecision about the future direction of the underlying asset. So what that was telling us yesterday is that Bitcoin really didn't know which direction it wanted to go, and it could have gone either direction. It looks like we've gone bullish, and this can also be kind of used as a trend reversal indicator. You don't really want to use it all that often as that, but you do kind of tend to see this at the top and bottom of trends. And it seems that we have decided that Bitcoin is going to go bullish. If we zoom in here to the hour chart, let's go ahead and zoom in here to the hour chart. look here on the hour chart, we're going to see that Bitcoin did pull back down here to a nice level of around $6,840, or around $8,650, or $6,840. I'm getting my numbers confused. We pulled back there in the last couple of days, as we can see back over here earlier on. Yesterday, we started pulling back. We got support here. And that's an interesting thing because a lot of people were expecting Bitcoin to get support at exactly $6,800. And I was kind of just thinking, you know, it doesn't have to get support at exactly $6,800, guys. This is a support and resistance region. You don't always have support and resistance levels that are perfectly flat. And this is no exception. But it looks like we pulled back here and gotten support around $6,840. And that actually does still correlate with this head and shoulders pattern because it's very, very close to it for one. But also if we drag this line up, we can see that several of the wicks back over here in the inverse head and shoulders pattern actually bring Bitcoin up to around $6,850 right here. Right here, we see a wicks right there, there, and there. And of course, we have the overall inverse head and shoulders pattern to contend with as well. And that does seem to be where we're getting support right now. If we look in here to the hour chart, we're going to see that Bitcoin did pull back right there almost perfectly to that level, and that's where it looks like we've at least started this reversal. Now, this reversal may only be short-lived. It may only continue for another couple of days, but I do think that we are going to see a little bit more bullish price action moving into the week, because one of the problems that Bitcoin had over the weekend is that not as many people are trading on the weekends as they are during the week, because a lot of people that are trading they're doing well enough for themselves that they don't want to trade every single day because they don't have to trade every single day. And this big wicks that we saw here, this giant red wicks, happened on a weekend. And it's not entirely impossible that this wicks would not have happened on a weekday, because if it had have happened on a weekday, a lot of people would have been buying this up and would have stopped this big wicks from happening. A lot of people are thinking that this happened a lot to do with bot traders and not actually to do with human activity, and that this is kind of an invalid wicks, which is why I think that we're going to see a bigger green candlestick moving back up and going on into the next couple of days. Another thing I want to point out is this uptrend right here, this one right here. We can go ahead and draw this, and we can see that Bitcoin does have a couple of touches on this trend line. We can see that we have the pivot point back here, the set point right here. That's my terminology for that. I've never heard anyone else use that, so I'll go ahead and define that. The pivot point is the first level that a trend line gets support on. Of course, you don't know it's a trend line yet because there's only one level. The set point kind of sets the degree of it, because if this would be 0 degrees, that's maybe like a 30-degree trend line. So we have the set point right there, and it looks like we're actually managing to get support on it as well. So we're getting support on not one, not two actually, but we're also getting support on a third level. If we bring out our moving averages, we're going to see that Bitcoin is likewise getting support on the 50 daily simple moving average. That's this red line right here, which is very nice to see, because guys, I've talked about in several other videos how important the 50-day simple moving average was in 2017, or yes, in 2017. So if we look back over here on the chart, we're going to see that this pullback right here in mid-November pulled back to the 50-day simple moving average. Every time Bitcoin had a bull run, what it would do, or another rally rather, what it would do is it'd pull back to the 100 daily, jump up above the 50, get support on the 50, then go on a rally. It happened 4 times in 2017. It happened 4 times, and every single time before the rally, Bitcoin would get support on the 50 daily. Saw it right there, right there. You see that? Got support on the 50, pull back to the 100, go up, get support on the 50, and then continue. It happened many, many times. The 50 daily simple moving average is a moving average that I like to look at, especially I like to look at it in 2017 because it seemed to have more importance in 2017, but we are actually finally getting some trading around it, which does help to give its credence back, and it does look like we're getting support there. Another thing that we want to look at is the RSI. The RSI has cooled off a lot in the last couple of days. As we can see, it's down here around 45 right now. And that's largely due in part to us having 8 red candlesticks here in the last couple of days, because the RSI is calculated based off of how much red and how much green there is. I'm not going to get too deep into the calculation right now, but it's basically calculated off of how many red candlesticks there are and how many green candlesticks there are. And there's been many more red candlesticks than there have been green candlesticks recently. And that's helped to reset the RSI on the daily chart, which helps us to actually manage to form a new rally. Also, in the last couple of days, the RSI has been very low on the 4-hour. It's come up a little bit more on the 4-hour because we've seen a couple of good green candlesticks over the last 8 hours or so. And on the hourly, it's actually quite far up here, but that's after coming down to a low back over here. I'm liking what the RSI is looking like right now, and I'm liking what the overall cryptocurrency markets are looking like right now. And I think Bitcoin is going to continue this bounce up, maybe to this downtrend of resistance. Let's turn moving averages off. Up maybe to this downtrend of resistance, the one that we saw Bitcoin initially get above and then get right below. I could very easily see Bitcoin coming up here and getting resistance at around $7,300. If it breaks through there, it'll probably be more drastic. Bitcoin may go up to about $7,600. I'm not saying for a fact that this is the beginning of a new rally, but guys, it is very, very possible. It would be very nice to see Bitcoin come down here, pull back, get support on previous resistance, make that into new support, and then actually manage to bounce and go off from there. That would be a very, very bullish pattern in my opinion, and I would like to see something like that happen. If we can hold our bottom down here, I'm very much looking forward to a couple more days of green. Let's go ahead and get into one more reason why I think the next couple of days are going to be green, and that would be on the Bitcoin US dollar shorts chart. As I talked about in the intro, these 4 green candlesticks right here on the Bitcoin shorts chart are actually very bullish. Now, a green candlestick on the shorts chart just means that more short positions have been opened on the exchange in question. This is on the Bitfinex exchange. So basically what a short is, if you guys aren't familiar with a short, basically you're betting against Bitcoin. You're borrowing someone's Bitcoin, selling it at current price, and then you buy back whatever asset you borrowed at a lower price, give them back their asset with a small fee, and then you pocket the difference. That's how a short works. So essentially, it's people betting against the market. You go long on the market when you think the market's going to go up. You short the market when you think the market's going to go down. So this means that a lot of people think the market is going to continue going down. Now, I talked about in the intro why this is actually a bullish contrarian signal and why you shouldn't be too concerned about this. I'm going to show you a reason for that. Where were the last 2 peaks in the Bitcoin shorts? We saw them right here. This is a peak. Right here in mid-June, or about the June 11th, June 12th, to about the end of June. And then we also saw one in the first half of April. Remember those dates. What happened in the first part of April, and what was going on in the mid to late part of June? Well, if we go over here to the Bitcoin chart, what we're going to see is that coincided with the bottoms. People were shorting at the bottom. Early April was right over here. This is when a short peak happened. This is when a lot of shorts were coming into the market. It was right over here when Bitcoin was at the bottom, and you objectively should not have been shorting. Now, of course, that's easy to say in hindsight, but that was a bullish contrarian signal, and we did see a massive short squeeze, which caused that green candlestick right here. That's this big red candlestick right here. And the same thing happened in late June. We saw that Bitcoin was coming down here to get support down here, and it actually managed to have a little fake breakout, a fake out down here around $6,000, and that's where a lot of these shorts started peaking out, was right here in late June. Right here in late June, that's where the shorts started peaking out. And now when we started going up, we started running up. The shorts were falling off, and now they're going back up again. Well, guys, the last time we saw 2 major climaxes in the shorts, we saw that Bitcoin was at a bottom. And right now the shorts have been going up very drastically because people are worried about Bitcoin breaking key support at $6,800. And based on what we've just seen on the shorts chart, based on all the technical analysis I've been doing on the market over the last couple of days and over the last week or so, I have been expecting, and I am expecting, Bitcoin to get support at $6,800 and bounce. You can go back and look at videos I posted like a week ago. I talked about how I believe that Bitcoin was going to pull back to $6,800, and then we're going to see a bounce. And that's exactly what we're seeing. I think this bounce is going to continue, if only for a couple of days, but I think the bulls need to get a little bit more momentum going, and I think the bears need to take a breather because they've been very much in control of this market for the last several days. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the technical analysis portion of the video. Tell me in the comments section down below if you agree with my analysis. Do you think Bitcoin's going to get support here at $6,800? What do you think? As always, I'm interested to hear your opinions, but let's go ahead and talk about Coinbase adding Ethereum Classic. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this news, and if you're a big Ethereum Classic fan, this is a big day for you. Earlier this week, leading cryptocurrency trade exchange Coinbase announced that it is now working on the final components for testing support for Ethereum Classic. In June, Coinbase revealed that it had plans to add Ethereum Classic, which caused a big jump in the price action, to its listed assets, with the news to follow. And now, in its latest update, the platform has informed the public of a provisional date for the completion of final testing before officially listing the new asset. They tweeted on August the 3rd, "Our engineering team is beginning the final testing of Ethereum Classic on Coinbase products. We expect final testing to be completed by Tuesday, August the 7th. This is something we covered on the channel a couple days ago because this was a very big deal for price action. If we look at the chart here, go ahead and bring up the Ethereum Classic over US dollar chart. We're going to see it the last 5 days or so have been very bullish for Ethereum Classic, which started down here on the 3rd, and that was kicked off by this tweet. I mean, this shows you how much power one tweet that Coinbase releases can have. So Ethereum Classic has been rising very, very rapidly. In fact, if we bring out our measuring device here, a little ruler, we'll see that Ethereum Classic is up about 50% on the Wixes anyway in the last couple of days, in the last 5 days. And if we look at the candlesticks, what we're going to see is Ethereum Classic is up about 30% in the last couple of days. That's a very, very bullish thing. It's nice to see that Ethereum Classic is doing so well, and the Ethereum Classic community has, of course, been having a very good week over the last little while, and really the last month or so, because when Ethereum Classic did actually get this announcement, it did all right also, and that was a very good thing indeed. But one thing I want to tell you guys is that I want you to be very, very, very careful buying into this market. As you can see, we have a very, very tall wicks right here. Ethereum Classic ran up to about $21.50 up here, about $21.25. And that leads me to believe that this rally, this pump is more or less over. I would be very, very careful buying into this because after it actually is listed on Coinbase, a lot of the hype that built this rally is going to disappear. It's going to vanish because this rally, because a lot of the hype that was going into this is gone. It's like when you fall in love, you get really, really excited for the first couple of weeks, and then it kind of tapers off and it builds into a longer-term, more bullish relationship, if you will. So I think that Ethereum Classic, obviously we thought that Ethereum Classic was going to have a big pump initially, but after it gets listed to Coinbase, it's going to have much less of a sudden, drastic change to Ethereum Classic's price, but it's going to probably cause Ethereum Classic to gradually trend upwards rather than just moonshotting like I think some people are expecting, because like in the love analogy, the love is just kind of more steady as you go into the relationship rather than just having a gigantic, really, really excited period during the first couple of weeks. That's basically how a Coinbase listing happens, guys. Basically, the listing falls in love. That's exactly how it happens, and the people in that asset also fall in love because they are now rich. But that's what we wanted to talk about on the Ethereum Classic chart. I think I covered all my bases. I believe I covered everything. I want you guys to be very, very careful buying into this market. If you do buy into this market, do yourself a favor and have a tight stop, because this market very well could run up here again. It could go up to above $20, but it could come down just as quickly because, like I said, this is built on hype, and that's about it. Let's look at one thing in the Litecoin chart, actually. I want to come back onto the Litecoin over US dollar. Well, actually, we can't use the Coinbase chart for this, for what I'm about to show you. Let's look at the Litecoin over US dollar Bitfinex chart. I want to show you something. And I know I just told you to be careful buying into Ethereum Classic, and now I'm going to show you a reason that you shouldn't. Don't do what I say, not what I do. But I want to look at this candlestick back over here on Litecoin, because this kind of puts into perspective how big of a news story this is for the Ethereum Classic community. This green candlestick right over here, where Litecoin jumped from $4.20 to about $8, that green candlestick represents when Litecoin was added to Coinbase. Yeah, Litecoin jumped 100% the day it was added to Coinbase. I don't recall if this was the day it was added to Coinbase or what, but this was because of the Coinbase news. Now, it's hard to ever say why a market movement happens, of course, but at the same time, I mean, that's not just going to come out of nowhere. This happened after it got listed to Coinbase, and Litecoin had been rather flat, trading in between $3 and $4 for the better part of 2 years. Had a couple of run-ups. I keep clicking that. It had a couple of run-ups here to around $6, but after it was listed to Coinbase, within 8 months, it had 100x'd. I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen to Ethereum Classic. I'm not even going to get into the argument of Ethereum Classic versus Ethereum, but I did want to give you guys kind of an idea of what I was talking about when I say that being listed on Coinbase can help the price action move gradually in the bullish direction over time. Because that's kind of what we saw with Litecoin. This Coinbase listing back here was really a very bullish thing for Litecoin. Now, of course, Litecoin did very, very well because there was an underlying Bitcoin bull market anyway. So don't expect the same thing to happen for Ethereum Classic. Don't expect ETH Classic to be worth like $2,000 in 8 months. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this is still a very bullish thing for Ethereum Classic. With that said, let's go ahead and get on to our last news article here. So the Wall Street Journal apparently posted an article talking about pump groups using Telegram and Discord for manipulation of crypto markets. Some of you guys I know some of you guys in my Discord server have had this idea and thought you guys were the original creators of this idea. You were not. A pump and dump group is essentially, let's go over here to Investopedia again and read their definition, because it's a very nice definition. I like using Investopedia. If you guys aren't using Investopedia, if you ever need anything in relation to investing or crypto or definitions or stuff, Investopedia is a good source. I'm not sponsored by Investopedia. I'm just telling you because I do use them as well. Investopedia defines a pump and dump as this. A pump and dump scam is the illegal act of an investor or group of investors promoting a stock they hold and selling once the stock price has risen, following the surge in interest as a result of the endorsement. Note the word illegal act right here. That's an important word, because while this is illegal in traditional finance markets and traditional stock markets and whatnot, in traditional markets, it's not illegal in Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets as far as I know, because there's really not a lot of regulation on the crypto markets yet. So you guys just figured out what a pump and dump scheme is, if you didn't already know. Essentially what people do is I think I've been invited to a couple of these, and I would never join them because it's a very immoral thing to do in my opinion. And they try and a lot of pump and dump groups try and play it off as, oh, well, we're just pumping and dumping coins that have good potentials and they're going to do really well in the future. Well, no, you're not, because the people, and you're trying to use that as a scapegoat to say that you're not screwing people. But you are, because the people that get screwed in pump and dump scams are the people that buy in on the hype. When we'll use the Litecoin chart here as an example. Litecoin is not a pump and dump scam, but I'll use it as an example of what a pump and dump looks like, because the late December rally for Litecoin actually does look very similar to a pump and dump scheme. It wasn't. I'm not saying it is. But essentially what you would see in a pump and dump scheme is the market's just trading sideways, doing its own thing, and then it skyrockets out of nowhere. And then the people that all bought in at the same time Because in pump and dump schemes, what they do is you have the people at the center of the pump and dump scheme, and they say, okay, well, we're going to pick this coin, and then we have, say, 5,000 members on Discord, and then at the same time, we're going to tell all of them which coin it is. In the next 10 seconds, everybody's going to go buy up the order book and buy every single sell order on the market, and then the price is going to skyrocket, and then once the price is 2 or 3x, then we're going to sell and then screw over the people that bought in on the hype that are going to hold their bags down here and then lose all their money because they bought up here. So the pump and dumpers buy down here, they sell up here, and then everybody that gets really excited buys up here and sells down there. It's basically a way of transferring money from the impatient and the silly and the uninformed, and that's not an insult, but people that don't really know what's going on, to the people that have gone and conspired against the market and are partaking in market manipulation. So it's a terrible thing to do, and I implore you guys not to do this, because it does screw over a lot of people that are just getting into the cryptocurrency space. It makes a lot of people that don't know any better, and they think, oh my gosh, a coin's mooning. Some news I didn't see must have come out. No, actually, you're just getting trolled. You're just losing your money to some people that have come together and organized this. So guys, that is why I will never partake in a pump and dump scheme, a pump and dump group, and I highly encourage you guys not to, because while this is not illegal in the cryptocurrency space just yet, it probably will be as we see increased regulations coming into the cryptocurrency space over the next couple of years. We've talked about how the Bitcoin ETF is coming more than likely. We've talked about how ICE and the New York Stock Exchange, or the owner of the New York Stock Exchange, Microsoft, Starbucks, and everybody's getting into the space. We've talked about how the CBOE and the CME futures are coming in. We're seeing a lot of regulation coming into the space, and this kind of thing is basically a relic of the Wild West of cryptocurrency that I think is coming to an end. Now, that may be a good thing, that may be a bad thing, depending on your opinion. I'm just telling you the fact that the regulation is coming, and we are going to see things like this be a relic of the past, or at least a relic of criminals in the next couple of years. So be very, very careful getting in on these, because you also can lose a lot of money in these. You have to be very careful when participating in these, not only because it's a terrible thing to do and it's immoral and you shouldn't do it, but also because if you don't buy the asset at the perfect time, you're going to be one of the people that bought at the top and then lose all your money when you're trying to bag hold and hoping the market will go back up. But anyway, guys, tell me in the comment section down below what you think of the Ethereum Classic or the Ethereum Classic listing on Coinbase. It is going to be going to all of their services. They're rolling it all out over the next 72 hours or so. And trade, I should have mentioned this earlier, trading isn't actually going to be enabled for about 24 to 48 hours, but you are going to be able to deposit Ethereum Classic on Coinbase, hopefully today. So tell me in the comment section down below what you think of that news, and also tell me what you think of my analysis on pump and dump groups. I'll go ahead and summarize my opinion on them. I think they're terrible. I think you shouldn't do them, and I think they're highly immoral. So stay away from them. If you're watching my channel and you do them, stop watching my channel and rethink your life. That's going to be it for this video, guys. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.